Meeting to order for today. First item up on our agenda is to approve our agenda as presented.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we're moving on to our agenda input. Does anybody have any input for our agenda for this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to our recognitions. We have Representative Rick Scarborough that is with us tonight. Representative Scarborough, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. As your new state representative, it's my honor to bring forth a proclamation. It's my first proclamation. And on behalf of Lieutenant Governor McNally and Speaker Sexton, I want to recognize you for your recent awards for your school system and the 3 schools. And if you'll bear with me, I'll read this. And if there's any typos or misspelling, I'll make sure to get that corrected for you, okay? Whereas it's fitting that we should pay tribute to those public schools in Tennessee that through the natural talents and unflagging commitment to academic excellence evidenced by their administration, faculty and staff, students and parents, and having achieved significant milestones, and whereas Clinton City Schools is one such public school system that recently had the distinct honor of having every school within its district named a reward school by the Tennessee Department of Education, the top distinction a school can earn in Tennessee. And whereas reward schools are recognized as the top schools in this state based on academic achievements and by meeting annual measurable objectives, across performance indicators and student groups. And whereas the administration, faculty, staff of every school within Clinton City Schools have built an environment that ensures students have the very best atmosphere for learning. And whereas the selection of every school within Clinton City Schools as a reward school is a tremendous source of pride for the administration, teachers, students, parents, and Clinton community. And whereas the dedication of academic excellence demonstrated by all the fine individuals affiliated with Clinton City Schools is clearly deserving of our respect, admiration, and commendation. Now, therefore, I, Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House of Representatives of 113th General Assembly and State of Tennessee, and at the request and conjunction with Representative Rick Scarborough, do hereby proclaim that we congratulate and recommend Clinton City Schools on having every school within its district being named a reward school, salute the school system's administration, faculty, staff, students, and parents on this prestigious honor, and extend to them best wishes and continued success in the future. And I've got an additional copy for the office as well. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rick. We so do appreciate you coming by and presenting that. We would also like a picture as well, so you can't leave just yet.
We would. Thank you, Representative Scarborough, for taking the time. I do believe that we are one of your first proclamations that you have, the first. So Clinton City, normally we do not have quite the attendance, but teachers have come out just because we were eager to receive a proclamation from you and to be your first proclamation. So we just greatly appreciate the support that you have always given this community as a whole, and we appreciate you taking the time to recognize the people behind you are the magic behind what we do. I would put this staff up against anybody in the entire nation. They pour their heart and soul out with our philosophy of love the kids first, and we do have high expectations with an abundance of support, but they couldn't do what they need to do without the support of the community, the school board, city council, and we just have a community that really rallies around our public schools, and that is one of the keys to our success. So we just appreciate you taking the time to do that. So staff members, I appreciate you all taking your personal time after a long week and after a much anticipated snow day tomorrow. I would like for you all, though, you're welcome to stay for the whole board meeting, but before you leave, I would like to call Representative Scarborough up, and all Clinton City staff members also come up with the school board, and let's do a group picture. David Queener, I would like for you to pop up with us because you are one of us always as a former school board member, as one of our city council people, and we will get a picture, and then we will certainly shout that out to the rooftops that we have received a proclamation from the state of Tennessee. So come on up, Representative Scarborough and Clinton City staff.
I'm going to take it. No, I'm taking the picture.
That's so good. Come on. No, you can't hide. All right. First of all, Sarah, can everybody be seen?
Yes. Can everybody see me? Yes. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna take a bunch. Keep smiling. Just keep smiling. Still keep smiling. Okay.
Oh, no, we're not done yet. On the count of 3, we're gonna raise our hands and say, we love us. We love us. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We love us.
No leg kick?
No.
Hey, don't tell her.
Yeah.
Pretty sure this pulled out, because this was full.
Enjoy your snow day. I'm going to pass that around for the people who stayed to see.
Everybody will stay.
I'm going to let pass it the rest of you all can actually see it. We'll get it ready for it. You did right,
Smells like grandma's house in here.
All right. And I do thank everyone for coming to be a part of that great recognition there. It's through the teachers that we actually accomplish what we do accomplish. You can't love, nurture, and care for the children without love, nurturing, and caring for the teachers, without loving, nurturing, and caring for your administration. And so we all work together to create a wonderful and a great product that it is amazing that small school system in Clinton, Tennessee is so recognized and so well and highly thought of by the state of Tennessee. So it is all through you all that we get the accolades that we get through your hard work. So thank you. Moving on, we'll move on to our next recognition.
All right, I'll take this one over. It is National School Board Member Appreciation Month. We do this every January. But as we talk about what makes school so magical, honestly, the school board is a magical part of the success of a school district because we could not do what we do without your all support. And as I was meeting, Scott Ray and I met with Debbie, our new school board member, who we welcome on board this month. But we met with her earlier this week, and we were telling her that I think all of us, when we go to TSBA things, we come back and we know we have something special, but after you go and see other school boards and how they function, you truly come back and know that we have something special. And for all of you all, the 6 of you all, to show up every month and do what is in the best interest of kids and support teachers in doing the work for the kids. And you give us the flexibility to do what we feel like is best for kids. And you also give us grace, and we appreciate that. But we just have a very, very special thing here. And so at this time, I would like to call up the principals, and they are going to gift each one of you with a small gift from the children and then a gift from the adults. So principals, if you want to come up and award our school board members their school board appreciation gifts at this time.
There's a little one in there, and it's cute. I know.
And thank you.
Yes, I saw Graham. I saw Graham.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
We certainly do appreciate all that you do, so we hope you enjoy reading those sweet lovelies from the children. I'm sure some will make you giggle and laugh. I did receive one today from a CES student, particularly to Joey, that I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy when you read the contents of that card. So we do appreciate all that you do.
All right.
You're just gonna leave everybody hanging like that.
We'll leave everybody hanging. Maybe he'll put it on Facebook later, and you all can see. I do think it had something to do with his working out and his physical body. So we'll just leave it at that.
Well,
about his muscles and how he works out.
not lately.
All right. All right, moving on. I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda as presented. So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our financial report for November with Mr. Ray.
I feel like a broken record. The financial report fairly boring as I like it to be. We are consistent with where we were prior year in November. Revenues are coming in as I would expect. Expenditures are occurring as expected. Nothing out of the ordinary in that, or that won't be dealt with our budget amendment after this report. Federal projects funds, we're about a month and a half in 60 days, 45 to 60 days in our revenue collections. Remember, it's a reimbursement grant, so we spend the money, we apply to get reimbursed, and so we're doing that in a timely manner, so we get to hold on to our money. School nutrition, we're still about breaking even. Remember, we have a new food service management contract. There's some additional costs there. So hopefully we can maneuver towards the positive. I want it to be about our commodities allocation, which is a surplus of about $40,000 is what I'm hoping for. I'm not very confident that we're going to get there, but we're not going to lose any money either. So I will be watching that closely, but nothing to worry about now. In addition to the financial statements, I've handed out a spreadsheet to go over our cash position. So I'm going to take you to the bottom of the page. In the fourth column, it says general fund balance 6/30/24 unaudited. It's about $7 million. And if you go up to 12/31/24 balance, about the middle of the page, second to the last column, we have $6.7 million in cash. I always say you can't spend fund balance, you can only spend cash. And the fact that those two numbers are fairly close means I don't have anything hanging out on the balance sheet like a receivable or a payable that's not getting taken care of. So we're in good position. The last column, the increase and decrease, is just 6 months of interest. So we're getting our interest as need be, and as we anticipated, between the 4% and 5% range. It's gone down the last 6 months. I think the parade has ended as far as interest rates. I think they're going to start trickling down, but we're still going to take advantage of what we can now.
Lori hopes they go down.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
loan officer, she
Oh,
hopes
yeah.
they go down. That's why she was
Okay.
looking at you.
Well, we are kind of opposing forces. I like to, but it's a couple of years, I guess it's been 18 months or so, you gave me permission to open up 4 certificates of deposit of $250,000 each. I've done 3, plus the local government investment pool. So I will, just a reminder, we've got enough cash currently. So as of today, we're about $3 million sitting in our operating account. That's much more than we need for the next 3 months. And so what I'm going to do is just open up a 3-month CD that continuously renews at 3 months. another one with another local bank, so that we're insured, cover that base and get some more interest. So I hope to end the year at between $75,000 and $100,000 in interest revenue. That's never been done since I've been around the board. So that's a good way to manage our excess cash funds. I will say this to anybody listening, it may seem that having $7 million in fund balance or $6.7 million is excessive, given that we have an $11 million budget, more than half of our budget. We could operate without getting any revenues for 3/4 of a year. But when we re-roof, like for example, Clinton Elementary, 1/3 of our fund balance will be gone from that, when we pay cash for that. So it takes a while to earn, but a 30-year roof, in 30 years you're going to pay for it. So, and we're approaching that in the next 5 years at Clinton, and then about half of North Clinton in the next 5 years, and in the next 8 to 10 years, half of South Clinton. Just is an example of roofs that will really take a bite out of fund balance. So, given some good news, and wanted to take it away with some bad news on that. But any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Thank you, Joey.
When these CDs are done, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to
Right now, they automatically
put them in another
renew.
one? Okay.
And I have to be careful, because if you look at the Knoxville Teachers Federal Credit Union, between savings and the CD, we have $300,000. That's in excess of our insurance. And they're not, the state of Tennessee requires, if you have money in a financial institution, they have to be collateralized. So the state has tests to make sure a bank has enough money. If they're not part of the collateral pool, then you can't keep money in that bank in excess of what's insured. Now, it's not a written finding or anything like that, but I do need to take care of that. It's minor dollars, but that's where we're looking at, is to keep it at 250, and then they'll auto renew, and then the interest I'll be coming to you in 6 months asking for another bank to make a 5th bank or a 6th bank, hopefully.
And then in future, we had talked about today that you will ask to increase the local government pool as well.
Right now, I believe you gave me permission for $1 million, and I'm going to want to bump that up as well. The local government investment pool is really nice to manage your cash flow. Now, today, it was at like 4.5%. It got as high as 5.5% 6 months ago. But it's easy to manage. Click of a button, I can transfer it back, and the next day it's sitting in our operating account. If something were to come up, but I never put that much money that we'd have to worry about that. But there'll probably be more to come on our cash flow management. And I can't invest it. I can't do anything silly with the money. What we're doing is about the maximum that I'm allowed to do.
That's pretty impressive that in 1 year we'll walk away with $100,000 interest.
Yeah, if we keep it there, the time value of money in 10 years, that'd be another $1 million.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. No.
All right. Any further questions or comments for Mr. Ray? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve our November financial report as presented.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion's a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. Karen, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Curtis Isabel.
Yes.
Lori Wilson.
Yes.
Tim Bible.
Yes.
Joey Smith.
Yes.
Debbie Heaton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to budget amendment number 2.
In your board package, you should have budget amendment number 2. The first page is a summary. It starts with the original budget as approved by the board, and then budget amendment 1 was approximately $21,000. We increased expenditures at that point for some increases in insurance, liability, workers' comp, inland marine. Budget amendment number 2 increases expenditures by $300,000 and some change. The detail that supports that budget amendment has a lot of ins and outs, a lot of moving parts. Ultimately, the increase in expenditures of about $300,000 is due to the bonus that we paid out in November. That was exactly $303,000 was the bonus, plus taxes related to the bonus. That was offset by some increase in revenues. We had the TISA outcomes, the fast growth, a pre-K grant, state pre-K grant that we recognized. So when it's all said and done, we had an increases in expenses, and that was offset by some increases in revenues, which had a deficit for this budget amendment of about $50,000. The current deficit for the general purpose school fund is $21,000, so we're gonna add the 50 to that. So we'll be, in the realm of $73,000 is a budgeted deficit. We'll break even at worst. So I like to be conservative, and plan for the worst and hope for the best. So I think we're nothing to worry about. So any questions on budget amendment number 2? I know there's a lot there.
What's the $60,000 reduced capital projects deferred?
So I had budgeted, an amount of money to get us started with the playground, the seating in the auditorium. There was some architect fees that I didn't know how it was. I just, kind of budgeted to get it started. I don't see us needing all those funds by June 30th. I have a feeling some of those expenses are gonna get pushed into July, which is another year for budgeting. So I reduced those, and that's what I mean by deferred. We're not canceling the projects, the expenditures are probably gonna, if we get started as soon as we can, some of the expenditures for those projects will be as of June 30th, and some of those, finishing it up, will occur in July or August. So it'll span 2 years, if at the earliest. Most likely, it's probably going to get pushed into July and August. But that's what that's for. I also like to budget heavily for HVAC. I think I reduced it by about $20,000. And we're halfway through the year and we haven't really had any big, I shouldn't say that, had any real issues. So I think we can I took some of that money, put it back in, and to offset the increase in expenses.
Okay.
Good questions, Joey.
Any further questions or comments for Mr. Ray? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve budget amendment number 2 as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Karen, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Curtis Isabel.
Yes.
Lori Wilson. Yes. Tim Bible.
Yes.
Joey Smith.
Yes.
Debbie Heaton. Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to our approval for our internal school funds audit.
Okay. In your packet, the audited financial statements put together by the Pew and Company. I draft the financial statements and send it to them. They audit those financial statements. But all the bells and whistles that surround those financial statements, they put all that package together. Otherwise, you probably get 2 pages per sheet, front and back from me, to save paper. So I've highlighted a few of the things to draw your attention to. Page 5 in the audit report.
Scott, I believe,
Did you put the letter?
In the audit report, I believe that in Kim's absence, under new business, under your internal school fund salary supplements, that got loaded twice. So they currently do not have a copy of that audit. So if you
Should. I
can,
clicked on the agenda, I think, huh? Maybe I just downloaded it from my computer. I'll go over, if you don't have the audit, you will have it. So I can go over the highlights with you? Is that what you're saying, Kelly? They don't have
yeah,
it?
go over the highlights and
Okay.
then we can email them a copy.
Okay.
In fact, I can email it right now.
Financially, each school, again, it's kind of boring. It's nice and easy financials. There's not a whole lot of unusual transactions that are occurring. I look at every year to see that, we're maintaining a fund balance, ups and downs. We shouldn't just keep going up our fund balance in internal school funds, because that money is raised to support the needs of the kids. That is layered on top of what the Board of Ed is required to do. So the internal school funds are supposed to be kind of like federal funds in addition to the minimum. And I also look to make sure they're not going down in fund balance year over year. I haven't noticed either of those occurring. So I feel pretty good about that. I always try to look at the administrative costs, should be one of the lowest expenditures on internal school funds, because again, the purpose of the funds are for kids, not for buying administrative equipment. And we're doing a good job of that. So there's nothing as far as the general funds. The internal school funds has a general school fund, just like the Board of Ed has a general purpose school fund. Same thing. And that money, for the most part, has to be spent on children. Then they also have restricted funds. And whatever the restriction is how that money needs to be spent. And for us, most of the restrictions are student-related anyway. So whenever I get a question about the internal school funds, my first question back to them is, are you spending it on kids? And if they're like, yes, I'm like, all right, then it's probably going to be okay. So we really focus on that. So some of you, the first thing is you say, do we have any written findings? We did. I'm not going to dismiss a written finding as no big deal, but I'm not concerned. It's not the kind of written finding that I feel would lead to fraud, waste, or abuse. So I'm not concerned about that. It's kind of written finding that it's like an evaluation. If you're an employee and you get evaluated, it's kind of meant to make you a little bit better. So one of them was on the purchase order process. We just need to really make sure that before we spend the money, we open up a purchase order when required. At the school level, anything over $100 requires an opening a purchase order. Any online purchase, no matter what the amount, requires a purchase order. That's state law. I can't, adjust for that. The other one was documenting some paperwork, some invoices. So generally, you open up the purchase order, the item's ordered, the item comes in, there's a shipping ticket. The shipping ticket or a copy of the invoice goes to the teacher, and the teacher should sign off that I got it. That says it's okay to pay. A couple times that signature didn't make it back to that paperwork, probably because the school secretary has a pretty good grip on everything that's going on in the school. I think a lot of these rules and regulations, I call it big gap and little gap. I call it big gap is like Enron. Well, we all know where that went. So I think sometimes those rules, people will lose forest through the trees. They lose sight of kind of what's important. We're a little gap, so we don't really need to use all the big gap stuff. But I don't
I
have
think
that
we talked about
choice.
that before as far as the $100 purchase order threshold. Sometimes as an educator, you're at Walmart or you are out at a store and you see something on sale that you want for your classroom, and it's a weekend and you can't call the secretary to get a purchase order. And so you get it and it happens to go over $100. you get the purchase order, once you get back on Monday, you know you've got that money in your, in your account. So that's just kind of balancing, do you want the teacher to take advantage or make the teacher come back and get a purchase order and then drive all the way back to the store when it's not on sale anymore? And so,
One thing we've done at central office to try to help, can't just push it to the schools, is we did a pretty robust program with Amazon. So now the teachers are able to order via Amazon at the school level, and it requires a purchase order that goes to the principal to approve or deny. So it should be a lot easier. They don't have to look on Amazon, write down what they want, bring it to the secretary, and then now the secretary is the purchasing agent who has to go on Amazon and order it. The teacher can do it from their computer. So that hopefully will help mitigate some of these. But I'm not concerned, ultimately. There's nothing that they discovered that concerns me. Any questions?
I have emailed each one of you those 2 documents that didn't make it online. But we will also make sure that that gets uploaded in the right place on the district website. Apologize for that.
The auditors also write the board a letter, kind of summarizing what they've discovered, and they'll mention the audit findings. They'll mention they tested internal controls, and those relate to the audit findings, what they discovered. But again, nothing that they didn't bring anything out that I didn't expect to happen. Any questions? And if you have questions down the road when you read cover to cover the audit report, as I know everyone will.
They're going to do that tonight while they're waiting on the
figured as
snow.
much.
It's going to happen.
You got a snow day tomorrow to read the financials. It's great.
It's only 22 pages.
Yeah, that's a quick read.
Pure insomnia right there.
Yeah.
Any questions that y'all think about what I said? Or?
No. All right. Any further questions or comments for Mr. Ray? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve our internal audit as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving on, we'll move on to our new business. First item up, there is, I know Kelly has talked to everybody here. There is a diabetes medication price fixing litigation that essentially will not cost us anything to join into if there happens to be a settlement within that litigation there. Kelly, would you like to expand on that?
I'm gonna let Scott speak a little bit to that, just because it's benefits administration and how it has affected Clinton City Schools and our potential increases in what staff members have to pay for insurance and what we have to pay for insurance. So Scott, if you can give us a brief Reader's Digest version, that would be
Like
fabulous.
30 minutes?
No, brief would be
Briefer?
great.
Okay. Ultimately, the state of Tennessee is self-insured. And we are part of the state of Tennessee's group of teachers. And that is a huge group in the state. And so that's how we have health insurance. This litigation is related to, it's nationwide, price fixing for insulin. And the lawyers that are representing the class, which you're giving us permission to join that class, they feel that this issue has caused people that have health insurance to pay more for that health insurance. And I happen to agree with them. The state of Tennessee has indicated that we don't have what I call standing. I don't know if that's the right word in the attorney world. Standing to me means you have the right to sue, like you lost something. So, Joey can't sue for something that relates more to me. I need to do that. Well, I feel we do have standing, even though the state of Tennessee says we may not. Because although we may not have paid directly for the insulin, we pay directly for the health insurance that pays for the insulin. So I've asked Benefits Administration several times to give me something from the Attorney General, because he ultimately makes the call on whether they will join litigation for the state. And it's been crickets. So my advice was to move forward. I've already talked with the lawyers that are handling the class action, and they indicated that if there's a problem with the state, we'll just, you can step aside and not be part of it. But obviously, they want more people in the class, because class grows, the payout grows, and so do their fees, ultimately. So it's nothing to lose, no work for us to do.
Scott has spent a lot of time researching and digging in, and actually, our board attorney, Chris McCarty, is the one who brought this to our attention. So we've held conversations with Chris McCarty about joining in. There's really no risk to us at all. We just basically are agreeing to put our name on it, and if that money happens to become available, Clinton City Schools could possibly get some money, but there's no legal fees, there's no risk. If they don't win, we don't get anything, but we wouldn't, you don't know till you try, and so this could be some money that we could recoup for the increasing prices in our insurance. And so basically, it's going to be two separate motions. The first motion would need to be A, where we approve the resolution for us to enter into the litigation and the class action litigation. And then there would need to be a separate movement to allow me to enter into a client fee contract with the lawyer that is doing the class action lawsuit. So that would be, both of those would need to be two separate votes.
And just, I don't want to overthink it, but it goes to like the COVID money that we got from FEMA and TEMA. I think it was like $48,000. I found out the other day that we're like, I think the only Board of Education that got that money from FEMA and TEMA, because no one else took the time to ask for it. So to me, I mean, I'll throw questions at the wall and see what sticks, and if money comes back, great, no harm. But it doesn't hurt to go for it. So, and that was, what, 4 years ago? And we finally got the money, so.
Who would pay that money out? Like, who would?
Well, like
ultimately pay that?
CVS is gonna be a
It'd be big corporations.
defendant, I guess you
Okay.
would. I don't know in civil litigation if they call them defendants, but CVS is one of them. And anecdotally, guess who CVS and Caremark are tight with? State of Tennessee Benefits Administration. They have a long-standing relationship. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. If CVS and Caremark have engaged in insulin pricing, it's definitely affect people in Tennessee.
Right.
So if we're not gonna sue, then the Attorney General needs to.
So I'll tell you, when Chris McCarty first talked about it, I kind of just dismissed it. But then as I looked at other districts and started talking to directors around other districts, most districts in the region are jumping onto this just because it does impact the health insurance premiums. And so at that point, I took it to Scott, and then Scott started having conversations with Chris McCarty and with a lawyer that is actually taking the lead on it. And we had a conversation with Curtis about, with his legal expertise, if this might be, if it's true, it would not be any risk. And so,
If we were self,
attorney.
no, not a thing.
Not a thing.
We pay nothing.
and I've got it in writing from them, not just,
That's
I
part of
heard.
the resolution, I think, right?
Yes.
It says that only if we win, then he'll take just a cut of the winning total.
And as Scott said, if it wins, our system could get $100, or we could get $30,000 or $40,000, but you don't know if you don't throw your name into a hat. A lot of other districts have entered something very similar with vaping. There's a big vaping class action, and we did not enter that one just because we're elementary and, we don't, knock on wood, have as much of an issue, with that as the ones with school districts, the middle schools and high schools. So we did not jump onto that one, but I can directly say that this is in fact impacting our health premiums that impact our school budget and our employees' budgets.
All right, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution, which will authorize the commencement of the diabetes medication price fixing litigation.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Second part of that is to approve, now that we have approved the resolution, now we need to also approve the attorney that is representing us in that class. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the client fee contract with Kelly and our client. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our internal school fund audit, which is what we just,
So that is
Looked at.
correct. That is correct on your agenda link there. I'm actually going to turn this, so this is like the night of Scott Ray for some reason. I apologize. But Scott Ray is going to actually talk about
I've used
this.
up all my time for the year, I guess. All right.
He's getting it all over with,
Yeah.
Debbie. This is he's getting all
This
over
is
with
the
your
most
first
he-
meeting, and then he's not going to talk anymore. But no, this is something that he is doing proactively to help out with the potential next audit. Now that we're dealing with the first time this year with some secretaries who are receiving overtime hours that we are having to pay for. And so this is getting your permission to allow us to do that from an auditing standpoint. So Scott, I'll let you kind of in a Reader's Digest version.
Okay, the internal school funds is not allowed to pay salary and benefits, physically not allowed to be the payroll agent. That's us, the Board of Ed. So if there's overtime related to fundraising, is the way we're kind of doing it. If it took somebody 10 hours of overtime to raise $4,000, then the school itself is responsible for that 10 hours. I'll put it on their payroll, and then the school's gonna write the Board of Ed a check for those 10 hours plus benefits. If that amount is greater, is supposed to be scheduled in the internal school funds audit. So not the employee name, but the position and how much the supplement was for, in total for the year. There's a caveat that you can opt out if it has to be over $500 in aggregate. And I think my memo indicates that we're gonna use that. I have to disclose that in the financial statements. But we've never done overtime and related to fundraising and had that relationship back and forth. So we've never had, the schedule was just blank in the past. Well, it'll probably have something on it this year, I would imagine. It's not been a ton. We may not even make it to 500, but it does require your approval because they have to be Board of Ed approved expenditures on that schedule. We're not charging them to do the ordinary work that they normally would do, but if they're spending extra time as a fundraiser, that expense should probably come out of that fundraiser.
okay. Any further questions or comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve our internal school fund salary supplements, the ISF.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments for Mr. Ray? All right, since this is a financial transaction, Karen, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Curtis Isabel.
Yes.
Lori Wilson.
Yes.
Tim Bible.
Yes.
Joey Smith.
Yes.
Debbie Heaton.
Motion carries. Moving on to school board policies, which are essentially updates for the most part.
They are. All of them are just simple revisions. As you know, TSBA will periodically send out recommended revisions based on new Tennessee state law. Most of those, the first two have to do with TSBA recommended revisions. The promotion and retention, I sent you all in highlights just what was changed because I know that can be convoluted. And Dr. Bible had recommended that we do that just to make the revisions easy to see. So hopefully that helped. But there's just a paragraph in there if a parent wants to retain in first and second grade. and they can produce the data to show that that is justified, they can request for that to be done. And so there was a few wording there that we needed to change. The background investigations, new state law has required us to take advantage or to enroll in what's called the RAP-BACK program, which is an FBI program where in previous years, staff members would have to go and take a fingerprint test every 5 years. Well, now, when they go and get their fingerprint test, we enroll them in this RAP-BACK program, and it monitors their fingerprints ongoing. So if, knock on wood, would never happen in Clinton City Schools, but if a staff member were to get arrested or have a DUI or something that needed to pop, we wouldn't have to wait for that 5-year time span to find out about it. RAP-BACK would know about it immediately and could let us know. The good news about teachers is, and all staff members, is once you get that and you're entered in RAP-BACK, you don't have to go for any more fingerprint tests. So you don't have to go every 5 years anymore. You're entered in this and it stores your fingerprint information. So this is not a choice for Clinton City. This is mandated by state law, and so we have started doing that. We will roll in, so not all staff members are going this year for that test, but as their 5 years comes up, they will go get their fingerprint test. We will enroll them, and then they will be enrolled, and the state has approved that plan, and that's what most districts are doing. On Family Medical Leave Act, the only change there is we were advised by our consultants that we were doing FMLA based on a calendar year, and best practice is doing it on a rolling 12-month period. And so that was one little change. And then the last three, just basically the contact people that we had on the school board policies are no longer employed with us, and so we had to add the names of the currently employed people who are taking responsibility for all of those roles for those three policies. So very easy revisions.
All right. Any questions or comments for Kelly regarding our board policies? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve our revised board policies on first and second reading as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to items for information. Our next school board meeting will be right before Valentine's Day. There is the trip coming up in February to Franklin for the legislative get-together. Our disclosure of interests, those are due to the state by January the 31st, and it totally slipped my mind until I got an email, so I did it just the other day. And then we have a family medical leave of absence notification as well. That concludes our items for information. We'll move on to our director's report.
Okay, I let the principals have a bye month this month, just because Representative Scarborough was here and we did school board appreciation. So their appreciation is counting for their report for this month. But I will pass out just some general updates for Clinton City Schools to keep everybody in the loop. I know the Clinton Elementary all-inclusive playground is a hot topic, and we are eager to get that into place. As you know, with government bureaucracy, nothing moves quickly. But we are finally ready. We have gotten everything that we need from our vendor that has been working with us. She's worked with us, but that doesn't mean that we're going to use her. We're just using the information to send out an RFP. And so Scott is going to have that in the paper next week. As you know, that has to advertise for 2 weeks with an intent to propose. So that RFP process is finally starting for Clinton Elementary School. Right before Christmas, we did award our 2025 Teachers of the Year at each school. So we want to congratulate at Clinton Elementary, Patty Beats is our Teacher of the Year. She teaches, I put kindergarten on here. She does not teach kindergarten anymore. She moved to second grade this year, but she's taught kindergarten forever and just moved to second grade this year. But she's a second grade teacher at Clinton Elementary. North Clinton Elementary School was Bailey Reagan, and she is a first grade teacher at North Clinton. And at South Clinton Elementary School, Caroline Wilson, who is our current guidance counselor, is Teacher of the Year. And then our Principal of the Year, unfortunately, is homesick tonight, but Monica Rael is our Clinton City Schools Principal of the Year. So the Education Foundation is going to host the Teacher of the Year luncheon again this year on February the 13th at 11:30. That's going to be at First Baptist Church in their Family Life Center, and so they will receive further recognition at this event. But truly just high-quality teachers, and this is always a wonderful award because it is an award that is given by the colleagues within your school. So that just goes to show how highly respected these educators are within their school and within the system. And then you heard Scott mention some TISA outcome funding that we received. And so every December, we receive a certain allocation of TISA funds. It's called outcome funds. So for every student in our district that is proficient on third grade TCAP, and then for every student who is not proficient on third grade TCAP, but we moved into the proficiency realm, and when I say proficient, I'd say that it should be meets and exceeds expectations, then we get a certain amount of money for those students. And so our outcome money was $81,362.50 this year. So we are certainly proud of that. Some districts will tag that and do something special with it. We just put it back into the general purpose pot to use for needs to meet the needs of all students. And so that will go. You also heard him mention something about growth funding. I'm a little perplexed as to why we received that funding because we haven't really, we're just, but I have to be transparent about it because they give it to us and then at the end of the year, if those numbers aren't still there, they take that money back away and shore up your TISA allocation. So we did receive a letter on Friday that we had received like $35,000 of growth money. But I'm pretty confident that that's probably going to be taken away before June. And I'm going to just be pessimistic like you. And then when it doesn't happen, we'll be happy. But I'm being conservative. You've taught me to be conservative. So anyway, I did not really account that in the report because I hope we get it, but I don't want it to get taken away in June. So I'm just going to hold my breath on that one. Then TSBA, I don't know if you all click and read the weekly updates that they send, but they had a really neat screenshot for each district or county, I guess, within the state of Tennessee. As you know, on average, the state funds 70% of schools and locals fund 30%. But then each county has a different ability to pay, which is called fiscal capacity. And through two fancy formulas, Tasser and Sieber, they work to tell us what our fiscal capacity is for Anderson County. And so each district looks a little differently, but for Anderson County, the 3 school districts in Anderson County, 75.6 of those funds come from the state, and then 24.4% comes from local. So I just thought that was a good visual of where we stand with our fiscal capacity and kind of how that 70-30 average split plays out for us. Then the annual Blaze Staff Student Ball Game is going to be on this Thursday. Do we have any players in the audience? I think we do. I think Abby's going to cheer. I think Jenna's going to cheer. I think Leanne and Jamie and Karen and I are going to dance. And Mackenzie, are you your scorekeeper? We're going to protect her back and we're going to let her keep the score. And Vicki, what is it that you're going to do? Are you going to cheer or dance or basketball? She's basketball. Okay. She's going to use her height for the basketball team. So, but anyway, if you all are available, that is such a fun night. Good news for us, Scott Ray is not playing this year. He's going to be out of town, so the children are safe. They're not going to get hurt. But it is a fun night. And then, as you all know, Clinton City Schools will be closed tomorrow due to the winter weather warming. And just so the public knows, we do have 10 inclement weather days that are built into our schedule. We attend school 30 minutes extra a day than what the state requires so that we can build up 13 stockpile days. We use 3 of those for professional development and then 10 for inclement weather. So if you recall, we used 1 back when the hurricane came in the fall, and so this will be our second day that we've used. So we will have 8 left, and we'll see what the winter holds. And then I have one more piece of information for you all just to have, but we have set all of our Clinton City Schools kindergarten registration day and existing student dates and calendars. So I just thought as you are asked questions by community members that you might want to have access to those dates and help us advertise those so that we can get everybody registered for next school year. It's crazy to think that we're there, but we are. It's time. And then David Queener, we appreciate you coming today and supporting Clinton City Schools. And Sarah, also from ASAP, thank you for joining us. And to the Clinton crew in the back, thank you for staying with us the whole entire time. And Mr. Heaton, we appreciate you coming as well. So, and that concludes my report.
All right. Well, does anybody has anything else? Hearing none, I'll declare this meeting adjourned.